All right, we're just getting geared up to go live here. And there we are. We are in studio and we are live. Hi, Janet.
Hey, Marianne, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. I'm
Been
so
a
excited
while.
to have you here with me.
Me too. Thanks for inviting me. I'm
Oh,
honored.
my goodness. Oh, well, my pleasure completely. I'm excited that we get to spend this next hour together. It's been a minute since we've been well, certainly since we've been in the same space together. So I'll take virtual space for now, but at one of these times we have to be in physical space.
Yep, sounds really good.
S- So I'm just doing a little bit of housekeeping here just to make sure we're good. So I'm just going and checking the group to make sure we're live. And just a reminder, anyone who's viewing, you do have to click the link to let us see your name. So that is in the description. I will do that reminder a few times throughout. And there's always a little bit of a delay. So I see that we have popped onto the screen, and there we just went live as I was looking at it. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna jump right in and kind of get things going. And then I know that this is broadcast live in my Facebook, my two Facebook groups. And so I just kind of we start chatting, and then some people will pop in as we're doing so. And if anybody wants to come into the conversation, we'll invite them to comment or ask questions and let them do that. But I just have to share with the group. So Janet and I were chatting, getting ready for this, and I'm like, "Oh, how are what are you doing, and what are you up to, and where are you living?" And she shows me this beautiful view behind her. So give us a little glimpse of your beautiful view. Look at that. And I'm like, "Ooh, that looks lovely." And I'm thinking to myself, somewhat familiar, although the last time I talked to Janet, she was in the valley. So I'm like, "Oh, that might be the valley." Nope, she's in Northwest Cove, which is like literally 10 minutes from me. And we didn't realize that she was 10 minutes from me. So, so I'll be coming to visit and seeing that view in person.
Sounds good.
All right. So our topic today. So let me grab my banner here. We're going to pop that up. So we are talking about theta healing for body, mind, and soul. Now, that's the name that I put on the event uh, uh, posters, or what am I trying to say? The event oh my goodness, images that I did. But we're going to talk about way more than that, because Janet is just first of all, a beautiful, amazing soul. And she's has so many different healing modalities that she's going to share with us. So let me start by doing an introduction of Janet. So I was trying to think of when we met, and I couldn't quite remember when. And then I was thinking, how did we meet? And I couldn't quite remember the name of the group, but it was a group on creating miracles in our life, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's what it was
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Marcy Scheinhoff and
Yes.
uh, yeah,
Yeah. I know. It
Deb
seems like so.
Poneman. It was
Deborah
about 10
Poneman.
years. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was. And
yeah.
so I was in this group, and we were doing creating miracles, and I was in with these amazing women, and Janet was one of them. And we just
And Marianne was a financial advisor.
yeah, I know, like, what the heck is that? What was I even doing in a miracle group? Working in the bankruptcy industry, joining miracle groups. So, yeah.
Examining her closet woo woo.
That's funny. I was. Alma just popped in. So, hi, Alma. I just want to let you know that I see you here. So, just saying hi to her.
Hi, Emma.
I know. Isn't that funny? That was 10 years ago. Like, I wasn't even, what was I even doing? I was just kind of on my
You
spiritual
had no
journey.
idea.
I had no idea. No, I didn't. Now that I think about it, I was working full time and trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah,
But we never
yeah.
grew up.
No, we
But we
didn't.
have started figuring out who we wanted to be.
Yeah, or yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that was many moons ago.
yeah. Like 10
And
years. Yeah.
yeah, about 10 years. And and then we stayed connected, and she ended up in the valley, and I got to go see her beautiful face, and we get to hang out together prior to the world shutting down and putting us all in contemplation for a couple years. So let me tell you a little bit about Janet. She's just multi level depth Janet. So she's multi talented with many healing modalities at her literal fingertips, because she does a lot of hands on healing. And she implements the philosophy that teaching is the best way to learn it. and she calls herself the traveling Theta healer. So she is, among many other things, a dream building coach, a retired children's librarian, a mother, a grandmother, and an all around certifiable effing miracle worker. That's what she has on her website, which I love.
CFMW, yes.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. CFMW. Ah,
Certifiable.
certifiable. I love it. She has been called the Freedom Whisperer. I'm going to circle back to that in a moment. And what does she do? She holds space for you to give yourself permission to see the truth of who you are, to own it, to get out of your way, and to set yourself free. She says what she does best and loves the most is holding space for people to dissolve the trauma and set themselves free of it, which is so important. And I can't wait to just do a deep dive into this topic. So let's go. So, first of all, I'm going to ask you, because you've been called Freedom Whisperer, tell me about that. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to the people who call you Freedom Whisperer?
Uh, uh, it's a double-edged sword for me, and it means waking them up to entertaining that there's a different possibility and a choice for the world they want to create.
Mm,
And that's sometimes the scariest thing that anyone has to ever face.
yeah.
Okay. Because it's really the, well, remember when you said we never grew up? Like,
Hmm.
I'll challenge you. We did grow up. We did
We
grow
did.
up.
Yeah.
And that awareness is the
I think
gift.
we grew out. Like, do you know what
Well,
I mean? Up
absolutely,
and out,
total
right?
expansion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, out too, but yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So it
Why
it
why is that why is it the scariest thing to do? I mean, I know how I would answer that, but I'm wanting you to answer that. Why do you think that's
why was it
scary for
serious?
people?
Well, it's taking radical responsibility
Mm,
for creating the rest of your life and owning it
yeah.
and choosing it. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that means a lot of power.
I'm loving the way you're phrasing that because we do tend to be sometimes complacent in our lives and where we are. And, there's a certain comfortableness to playing it safe and not venturing outside of that. And so once you open that portal, I mean, for me personally, I would say, because I've walked that path, is there you get to a point where there really isn't any turning back. Like you can't go back to that old way of thinking, that old way of being.
Hmm.
And actually, there's also, I would say, a craving for what's possible next, what can come next, what you can do next.
Hmm. Yeah, I
But it's
agree.
getting to that point of taking that first crucial step or
Yeah.
steps.
Well, in the movie The Matrix, when he make like it's being red pilled. Like
Yeah.
once you take the red pill, then you see things in a
Mm,
totally different way,
yeah.
and there's no going back unless you really work very, very hard to get yourself back asleep. So you need like a
Yeah.
serious addiction, like
I was gonna say, that's probably like working hard is probably, addictions and numbing reality and
yeah,
right? That's how you would end up back there, I would think.
yeah, and totally having to orchestrate craziness to be able to stay there.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really interesting way of, describing that because you're right, and I never really thought about it. I mean, I know that for me, I could never go back to thinking the way I used to, that place of worry and fear. Not that they don't come in, they do, but not in the same way that they did before.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
like once you
and
shine the light of consciousness on it, you can't unsee it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and there comes a point like, okay, so if I'm not motivated by fear, like, or who am I without whatever it is I was
Mm,
identifying in, and like, how do I get motivated now? Where and so
yeah.
uh,
Well, my goodness, let's get into this. There's so much. Okay, before we do that, hi Jenna. I see Jenna there, so I just want to say hi to Jenna. So let's get into this because we're going to talk about 5 different healing modalities that you've been playing with for some time now,
mhm,
and and I think that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about moving from this place to this place, and
mhm,
what holds us back in this place that we
yeah,
want to move away from.
right,
It's fear, it's doubt, it's
yeah.
worry.
But I think in my exploration, and like I can't generalize for everybody,
Mhm.
okay, but for me, I wasn't aware that I was like in freeze, like
Mm,
trauma freeze. Okay, and there was no there was no going forward because I was completely shut down, and I
right.
wasn't able to even open up to receive again. And it so and it's just been recently that I understand like that my healing journey over the last 20 years was finally coming to terms with grief. Like I
Mm,
lost my husband about 20 years ago, and I've been keeping myself busy and numbing and whatever to never feel that feeling. So,
yes.
so the whole part about like just being totally shut down and not being aware that there was a way to open up again and choose
Mm,
life. So I think that for me, that's the freedom whispering is to like, wow, like oh, whatever you decided to do to shut down and turn yourself off so that you could fit in this box that you think you're supposed to be in. Okay.
mhm,
Like just what if there's no box? Like
mm.
what if you can what if it's possible to open your heart and still be safe and create something that you'd love?
Oh, I'm getting truth bumps. I
Yeah.
can tell that this is something that will resonate on a really deep level with so many people because again, it's that unknowingness and that unawareness. And you think that you create this box to keep yourself safe, but you're not safe. I don't think you ever feel safe there, do you?
Well, well, you feel comfortable because that's what you well,
Yeah.
this again, it's generalizing. I can only just
Yeah.
say for what for me, it's like when I was little, it's to fit into the family that you grow up in. So
Mm.
you it's
You
just
you become who you need to be in order to survive in the environment that you're in at
right,
the moment.
and you reject all of the things that don't fit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's where, like, the trauma would like, people get disconnected, they get disassociated,
Mm.
they need to numb themselves because they need to deny who they are,
Yeah.
but you really can't, because it gets stored in the body. Like,
Yeah, which is what we're going to talk about with the healing modalities. I'm glad you brought that up, and I just want to say the things that don't fit. So oftentimes, what doesn't fit is you being your magnificent, beautiful, brilliant self,
yes.
right? Because that doesn't fit in the environment or the world or or if you're in pain or whatever it may be. Again, I'm trying to encompass various
Well,
levels and aspects of that, but
yeah,
really it's giving yourself for me with the way I phrase that because I have shine membership, which is holding the space for people to shine the light inside of them so brightly that they can't help but see how amazing they are,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because we don't do that. We dim our light, we hide
yeah,
our light, we
mhm,
shut down our light.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, but it's a perfect analogy with the shine, okay?
Yeah.
Because what happened is we grew up and we were so bright, okay? But that
Yeah.
that that's what wakes people up, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So if they want to be asleep, and you're this big, beautiful, bright light,
Mm.
okay, they're going to be pretty cranky.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I love that you're saying that.
Yeah. Okay. So like the awareness is the gift, right? That, wow, I am that. I'm so sorry that
Mm.
I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry being me is like not
So
a
painful for
compliment.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because that's what it is. It's painful, but it's painful for the other person, generally speaking, again, in my opinion, because they're not shining their light. We all want to shine our light. And when we see someone else doing it, there's sometimes there can be a pain, there can be envy, there can be jealousy, right? So these are things that come up
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're seeing someone be braver and brighter than we are that we want to be.
Yeah. 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 That's just, and it's like you being you. Okay. It's automatically in their face that
Mm,
I could be different, that I'm not choosing.
yes.
Okay, and that really messes up the victim paradigm.
And that's the part where you said when we started the conversation, why is it uncomfortable? That's why it's uncomfortable because it's
Mhm.
taking responsibility for doing the things necessary to truly step into the truth and integrity of who you are, the light of who you are, the magnificence of who you are.
Yeah,
And we're
yes.
taught our whole lives not to do that.
Yeah, and yeah, but the thing is, like, I guess there comes a point when the people that taught us aren't even there, and we
Mm,
totally take
but there's,
over,
yeah,
and we still judge ourselves.
because
And
they're still there in our head, right? Saying the things and
well, there's that, but there's
yeah,
also we're really we're well, I'm a really good biomimicker. Okay,
right.
and so I've learned to think that way, and
Mm-hmm.
I I learn really quick, and I take over, and I'm way better at self abusing than whatever abuse I ever had in
Right.
my life. But
Yeah.
this
But
that
that's also learned, right? Because you've, been abused, I mean, for lack of a better thing, but someone's been abused or someone's been abusive to you or they've taught us how to do that, right? And then
right,
we just
right, yeah,
perpetuate and continue it.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is what you're talking about when you talk about trauma. I mean, that is the trauma. Like, I think about we're programmed. I think about a computer and there's this underlying virus program in your computer. Well, it doesn't matter what you do with that computer to try to make it work better and, faster and harder and because there's this underlying virus and this is all the traumas and the beliefs and the programs and things that
Hmm.
we've been taught and they're there. Like how can we live our best life if we don't um, get an antivirus program and get rid of them, right?
I don't know how much you know about the bars, but that's like such a perfect segue
Oh, is it? Okay.
to
Good. Perfect.
the access bars.
Awesome. So access bars. Well, so just before we go there, I want to ask you because you said something and I love this. Because we talked about it was about the law of attraction. And I wrote down what has trauma got to do with the law of attraction? I just want to make this connection for a moment before we get
Oh,
into that trauma and racing and ways to do that.
okay. So it's the capacity to receive, the capacity for your body and your nervous system to allow any kind of intensity, whether like intense joy is hard for the nervous system to handle.
Mm,
Okay, so that's why they're talking like why when you're visualizing, you're not just visualizing like in pictures. Like they say, well, how does this feel, and what's it going to taste like, and what's it going to smell like? So like, how do you go like okay, people okay, there's different reasons for trauma. Like sometimes you're getting too much of what you don't want,
mm,
like a fire hose almost, or not enough of what you do want. But if it's like like, oh, if somebody gives you $1 million and you can all of a sudden like do whatever you want because you have this money, like, how's
Yeah.
your body gonna even like,
Oh,
like,
interesting.
like so it's just to be so
I've never thought about it happening on the opposite in terms of receiving too much of a good thing, but it's kinda like that
absolutely
overload of emotion, overload of feeling.
right. Yeah, like so like for me, I'll be pretty transparent. Like the when I was younger, there was like I was diagnosed bipolar. Okay, so like the mania part is a lot scarier for me than the
Mm.
depression. I do depression really, really well. I'm a
A
master.
master at depression. Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
Okay. So, but honestly, it was that and, like, that was, like, just really getting my family's like, my dad was Irish, so you can understand the whole country's and I was really anyway, that's so the thing is, like, the happy honestly, if I was doing muscle testing, I was allergic to joy. I was allergic to happiness. Like so that your body gets to a certain point, and it's just like this is just too much to handle. So,
Fascinating.
right. So if your vision when you're manifesting, okay, that's why I'm convinced that we always get what we want. We don't always know why we wanted it, but it mostly
Mhm.
comes down to being regulated, like a nice regulated nervous system homeostasis, right?
Right.
So anything that's gonna like blow your mind is gonna check you out of your body.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
so
So so with the law of attraction, because you were saying you need to create the space to receive.
yeah,
'Cause that's what you're saying, like, it was
yeah,
rec you receive too much, you're not ready to handle it.
yeah.
You gotta have the yeah.
So like the manifestation, if you're in your body and you're really it's not it's just like okay it's one thing to manifest from your head,
Mm,
okay, but it's another thing like this to me this was the longest journey for me to reconnect my heart with my mind so then when you're actually allowing yourself to go for your heart's desire,
yes.
okay, but then also to like to fully embody it, like to get it right in your gut, like
Mm,
feeling fully supported by the universe, like that's full embodied manifestation. So like in my not so humble opinion, right? What they didn't tell you in the secret, okay, was that you had to be willing to receive whatever you were manifesting, and
right.
that means getting your body in shape. It's like you train for the Olympics. You train to go up a mountain. You train yourself
That
to
makes so much sense, and people
because
get so frustrated, it's like, "I'm doing the right things, and why am I not getting this?" But, you have to have the space to contain it, the
right.
container to receive and contain it.
Right, because then that's what we when we originally started talking about the power, right?
Yeah.
Being scary, it's like it's
Mm,
scary to have that much power. Like that's what would shut. That's how I shut down my capacities when I was little. Is I just scared myself silly that I could
I
do what I
bet.
so.
What was
But we
there
all
there's
do.
yeah, there's 2 things. Be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. So that was the first thing I heard.
Yeah,
Um, and I lost the second one. So it'll come back to me. But I love like I feel like I'm like, "Whew, my mind's blown." Because we're going into this what I feel like is this huge concept that we're talking about it, but there's so much more that can be said. It can't be said. This is the thing. So this is,
because
when I channel and stuff comes in, it's like I just know that I'm sitting in this space where there's so much to this that there's no possible way we'll do it justice with the words coming out of our mouth. Don't worry, everyone. We're going to do it justice with the words coming out of our mouth as best as we can. Just know that there's so much energy behind this and beneath this and around this
Mhm.
concept.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's what I'm
uh,
talking about, holding space and
yeah,
creating the space
yeah. Oh, and
to
I know the other thing was, yeah, be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. But also, we have more of a fear of success than we do of failure. That was the other piece. And but
absolutely.
we don't it seems wrong, like it seems odd to say that, but yeah, it's a real thing. Like we might want all these things, but there is this underlying fear of having it. And then that I think that's relating that manifestation, right? Because like, oh, I really want this, but then there's something happening physiologically, I can never say
Yeah,
that word,
yeah.
in your body that goes, no way, not enough room here, not enough space, not enough capacity. We're not ready. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, like, okay, so if somebody's already exhausted and, like, why would they want more clients when they're
Mm,
already real so that's where, like, your mind might be sick. Consciously, you might be wanting that, but
yes.
subconsciously, you're broadcasting. You
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna let my dog in because he's scratching at the door, but I have a headset, so I'm gonna keep talking to you. This He needs to be in on everything. So,
Well,
because we're gonna talk about clearing the blocks, and these are the blocks that we're talking about, right? And you
right.
have something called the 4 R's. So you need to clear the blocks before you can truly manifest your desires, correct?
That's right.
Yes. So tell us about that while I let this furry beast in. Get in here and lay down.
Okay, so I guess the 4 R's are, regret,
Mhm.
okay, the energy holding on to the energy of regret, okay, holding on to the energy of, rejection,
Mm.
holding on to the energy of resentment, and fueling yourself with the energy of revenge.
Say that last one. Did you say fueling yourself?
With the energy of revenge, like
Okay.
revenge as a motivator. They're,
Ha.
they're all different motivators,
Yeah.
okay? So
Okay.
those are the 4
Yeah,
R's.
walk us through those because, you threw me for a loop with the last sentence because I'm like, you can feel that low vibrational energy of regret and rejection and resentment. And then when you said that with revenge, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what's she
Oh,
talking about here?
yeah, okay, so like, when I was saying in your manifesting, like, you're always getting what you want, you just don't know why you would want it. So I think we're, um, if you're okay, I'm talking more about theta healing now than access.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where this manifestation technique's coming from. So people hang on to the energy of resentment or grudges. Okay, because it's the one way they know to keep themselves safe.
Mhm.
Okay, so they'll hang on to that. Okay, and they'll orchestrate their life to make sure that they're hanging on to that, and they'll hang on to certain beliefs to be able to hold on to that. And it's not just like the individual, it's the DNA and the genetics of the whole uh, lineage that's holding on to this too. Okay, so there's these grudges and resentments that are there. So that takes a lot of energy to hold on to
Mhm.
that. So if you're like, well, just think you're climbing up a mountain. If you can get rid of all of the resentments, then you have more energy to do something else. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like whether you're using NLP or Theta or whatever, you're gonna, unless you can show the person that it's possible to keep themselves safe without hanging on to that resentment.
Mm.
Okay, that then they can let it go if you can stretch their mind that it's possible. Okay,
Yeah.
but like that. Oh, so that's the resentment one. Okay, the rejection is just a lot of pain and
Yeah.
grief. Okay, that's being stored and not being processed. Okay, but it takes energy to numb, like,
Yeah.
so so a lot of the time, people are just so afraid to feel the feeling, and they'll
Mm.
do anything to not feel the feeling. Okay, so to the only way t is to let go of that pain is to go through, like, it's almost like a thwarted emotion or a heart shock, and it's just to allow that part to be processed. So that's extra energy that you can use for
Mm.
manifesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are the 2 of the R's, and then the the third R, okay, regret. You're
So regret
also,
was the other one that so you said,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So regret. People will hang on to regret to make sure they will never ever do that again.
Mm.
Okay. So if you can,
And that would lead me to, someone who, had a bad relationship and how they'll never step into another relationship because of their bad experience, right? As an
right,
example, because I see that often in my field of work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
will never let anyone break my heart again. But in
yeah,
the
yeah.
process, you're also not letting anyone into your heart again.
Yeah, and you haven't figured out yet that to block your heart hurts a heck of a lot more
Mhm.
than anything that
I
being
know.
rejected again. That's like
Yeah.
my own personal journey. I was estranged from my daughter for about 5 years.
Remember that?
Yeah, so like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress. So
Yeah.
the okay, so there's the rejection, and then the one that,
The
like,
revenge.
the revenge, and
Yeah.
revenge is like your little person that's still running the show, that uh, is never going to give up, never going to quit, never going to surrender. Okay, trying to fix something in the past.
Mm.
Okay, and if I can only fix it, then things will be okay. Okay, so people don't even know sometimes that they're being fueled
Yeah.
by revenge, but it's a great motivator.
I can see that as you're talking about it because I mean, I can see how it would take a lot of energy, but if you put that energy to good use, how it could move and propel you forward,
Yeah,
but doing
okay.
it in a constructive, not destructive way.
Right, yeah. So now I'm gonna talk to I really love this little,
Segue?
yeah, on YouTube, there's this film of this little girl that's learning how to do a ski jump,
Yeah.
okay? And, like, the dad's coaching her through this, and, like, the advice he has to give her, is like, "Remember, no snow plows." Okay? Like, so she really has to go full tilt, not put the brakes on,
Yeah.
to be able to do the jump, okay? But, like, that jump is so scary, right? Once you do
Mm.
it, it's cool, but, like, "Whoa, let's do another." But that first jump, okay, we have a tendency to put on the brakes, right?
Mm.
And some really cool brakes that we've learned are regret, resentment, rejection,
Mhm.
and revenge. So if we were doing the Theta Healing manifestation course, like, we spend, like, the first day just figuring out all of these regrets, revenges, resentments, and
Yeah, let's talk about that theta
yeah,
healing because 'cause we're jumping into that, pun
yeah,
intended, because we just talked
yeah,
about ski jumping.
yeah.
So walk us through what that means, theta healing.
Okay. Theta healing is a modality that was channeled by Vianna Steibel. Okay, it's a registered trademark. It's her modality.
Mhm.
Okay, um, but theta healing is a technique that we can use. Okay, which allows us a different way to ask questions of our subconscious, to be able to uh, know what we know, not what we think we should
Mm.
know. Okay, all
Yeah.
right, and so once we can, and the theta comes from the theta. brainwave frequency. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you're able to get into the meditative state, the theta brainwave, okay, that's the dream state, the state when you go to sleep and you're in rapid eye movement.
Mm,
That's kind of like they call it the gateway to the subconscious. Okay,
mm,
and until you're about 7 years old, like children are mostly in the theta brain state, and that's why it's so easy for whatever thoughts that are coming that they hear or see to go straight into their subconscious. Okay, and
right.
that's where they develop all of these core beliefs. Okay,
Mhm.
so theta healing is a way to like interface with the subconscious to figure out what subconscious beliefs you have. Okay, and from that state you're able to change a belief. Okay, and also it's almost like whatever you believe and allow yourself to conceive, you you can change that, right? So you can install feelings that you've never had before. Okay,
Yeah.
and then the other part is you can just use it to like if it's mind induced. Okay, if the mind is making it happen, if you can change your mind, you can change the physical. You can
Mm.
change the physical.
Yeah.
So it's just a really uh, and I guess there's other modalities that do it, like NLP would do it, neuro linguistic programming,
Yeah.
or even hypnosis. Okay, so I would call
Because it is kind of I mean, it is in a sense where you're talking about like that reprogramming and getting rid of those old beliefs, those old programs,
right, right. So
rewriting them.
rewriting them, yeah. So
Yeah.
so when you do it with the theta healing technique, it involves focused intent, focused prayer to the God of your understanding. So that could be anything that's a higher power.
Mhm.
Okay, if you believe that you're able to change, there's something within you
Mhm.
that's higher power that can change it.
Yeah.
So the theta healer would help the person figure out what they want to change. Okay, but it's the person themselves that allow the change. The
Right. So
theta
you're
healer,
really a facilitator for change.
pretty much, yeah. You do have a part in it because you're a witness.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess it would be like I teach when I'm teaching my clients that it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's or like ordering your pizza, right? Like you know you're going to order the pizza and it's going to be delivered in like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
okay? And you want double cheese and mushrooms and whatever, okay? And then you just like okay, so like the theta healer would just be like, okay, so what do you want? Or anchovies? And like, you want whatever. Okay, and then make the command, and
Yeah.
then the person
Okay.
allows the healing.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're kinda you're bringing in the energy by using the words to help facilitate the healing that they need. Is that does that
We
s
make a command, right?
yeah, make a command. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not,
Yep.
yeah, it's a real declaration.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
we're having this now.
Okay. So you do theta healing sessions, with individuals, right?
Yes.
And so, would you do like, would it be one session? Is it an hour? Would it be several? Would it be days, weeks, months? Can you just give us, and I know it depends, but just give us a glimpse of what that would look like?
Well, you, you would okay. The sessions are usually about an hour because
Mhm.
that's pretty much what a person would be able to tolerate.
Yep.
And most of the session would be figuring out why they would be blocking
Mhm.
having what they want.
Okay.
Like if you came in,
Like
it's like,
identifying those
hey,
trauma blocks.
yeah, hey, Marianne, hi, what do you want to change?
Right.
And how's that going to show up in your life when you change it,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so then you you might say, I really want a horse. Okay.
I want a
I
horse.
what?
But I was telling the universe, "I don't want a horse, but we'll pretend. Don't bring me a horse, unless it's a unicorn. I might take a unicorn. I'll make space for
Okay, okay, I really want a unicorm. Okay, that's it. Man, you really want a unicorn.
it."
So okay, so Marianne, why wouldn't you allow yourself to have a unicorn?
Right. I don't have time for a unicorn. How am I gonna feed it? Where is it gonna go? What if I neglect it? Oh my gosh, my mom said I couldn't have a unicorn when I was young. I'm playing, but
Yeah, no, okay. So okay. So who so
what if it
what
dies? It's on
yeah,
my watch. Yeah.
okay, so
But it brings up all these things.
those are the blocks, right? So
Yes.
if it's a regret,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
so what are you regretting?
Right.
Okay. So okay, so can we show you? And that's where the downloads come in, like because you're
Mhm.
actually we're showing you a different perspective and understanding that it's possible that you're going to know who you are with changes and it's safe
Yeah.
to move forward. Okay. And if we can show you that, then you might
Mm.
be able to, you
'Cause you're
know,
creating again, you're creating that space, you're holding that space, you're developing the container, you're clearing out the container, right? Going back to our previous discussions, so
yeah,
that there is now energetic space for my unicorn.
yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
actually have a unicorn, he's right here.
Okay. I believe you.
This is my magical unicorn.
Okay. All
So
right.
individual.
Yeah. So if you're like the crazy theta healers in Hawaii that just finished like DNA 4, they're really into alchemy and like what's stopping me from totally manifesting. Right. Like I would just like if that happened to me, I would just like I don't allow myself to be that powerful. I'd scare
Yeah,
myself.
so well, wait, which goes back to what we were talking about, right? Because it's
Uh-huh.
being that powerful. So, okay, so do you also teach theta healing as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
thought I remembered you do courses, and teach
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
So if you're teaching someone to do theta healing, would they would your students primarily want to learn so they can do it for themselves or for others, or just a combination of both?
Combination of both that
Yeah.
everybody like it's a tool that everybody can use for whatever reason they
Yeah.
want.
And
The,
even those learning to do it for others would wanna do it for
yeah,
themselves as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, when I teach theta healing, it's actually to get people in touch with what they already know,
Mm,
okay, and help them unlearn.
yeah, I love that,
Yeah,
help them unlearn.
yeah,
Alright, so we're gonna move into one because we have 5 healing modalities to go through, and I'm looking at the time, so we better, move on to a second one, because I'm very interested in learning more about access bars.
yeah.
And so access bars and body processes. So
Okay.
please tell us about that and how that's different from theta healing.
Okay, so all right. So first, I'll just say that the theta healing, I use that. I use theta healing in my life to be able to change my beliefs.
Mhm.
Okay, to install new beliefs. Okay,
Yeah.
and what was the most beautiful was that I was able to like release shock, trauma, cellular shock,
Mhm.
like it wasn't just out of the light at the end of the tunnel. I was out of the tunnel. So if if you're at all receptive, it's really good for releasing trauma. So that's what
Okay.
theta healing is.
Thank
Okay,
you.
mind a mind thing. If you can
Yes.
change your mind, you can change your reality. Okay,
Okay. Beautiful.
access access consciousness is like a big whole other universe of different tools.
Mhm.
Okay, some of them are word tools. Okay, verbal processes. Okay,
Okay.
we're not talking about the verbal processes today. Okay, that but um, the part that we're talking about is the access bars. and the body processes, because you asked me like how
Yes.
did I use it and
Yes.
why it was important to me. It was important to me because I needed a somatic way to release all of this energy that I'd been storing that I just didn't know what to do with.
Mm.
Okay. And I really loved, I remember you said, oh, I said, oh, that's a perfect segue to access bars when you were
Yes.
talking about all these different programs and that.
Yes.
Because how
Programs
we,
and
yeah,
releasing the virus and the
yeah, yeah.
yes.
So how we talk about the, the, the access bars is, it'd be like defragging your computer.
Okay,
Like, say you
perfect.
had like 17 windows open.
Mhm.
Okay.
I might have
Like,
that now.
okay. So what happens after an access bars process is that all this energy is just, it just runs out of your body. Okay. So
Mm.
the bars session, there's 31 different places on the head. Okay, so there's maybe 10 different hand positions. Okay,
Mhm.
so each of the 31 places, kind of the way they describe it, it's storing thoughts and considerations and sensations, and when you can just place your fingers on those plate on that, it creates a little electrical
Mm.
current, and that's what it's like, a bar of
Okay.
electricity.
Yeah.
So it's just like just getting rid of the excess thoughts, and in access, like with the verbal tools they talk about, like some of the tools are just questions like, who does this belong to? And
Mhm.
like sometimes, like especially for empaths, like the thoughts and considerations you have in your mind, like the thoughts, the emotions, um, half the time they're not even yours. So
Interesting.
it just it's
Yeah.
like a defrag.
So would that be more of a hands-on modality? That
Abs-
aspect of it is
yeah,
more hands-on, creating the,
yeah, right.
um,
Hmm.
connections,
Right,
clearing out the debris, bringing
hmm,
things together so they're more whole and complete.
right. And what I love about, and there's other like, okay, so access bars is one of the body processes. There's access facelift. There's the 50 other
Okay.
processes. Okay, but the ones that it's kind of people around the world know more about is access bars, and uh, it just it just helps clear your mind and help you relax.
So you do those as hands-on healing sessions for
Yes,
people?
yeah.
Do you go to them or do they come to you? Or
Well,
both?
they've been coming to me at Clifton, and I go to them, and I mostly like to teach people how to
And
do
that
the
was my next
processes.
thing is
Yeah,
and I know you teach that, so the other
yeah.
aspect is you teach so if you're teaching someone to do that, can people do that on themselves, or would they primarily do that on someone else?
That's the beauty of access bars is they can't.
Okay.
Okay, and
They
and
can?
what they cannot.
They cannot. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
So
like
if you're teaching it, you'd really wanna have 2 people
yeah,
because they would
because
wanna do it for each other.
what they're learning, okay, what they're learning, it's not a word thing, it's bodies talking to bodies,
Yeah.
and it's, learning to co-regulate and also learning to receive,
Mm.
okay? So this you can't do it for yourself because 'cause you're learning to receive from
Okay.
someone else,
Right.
okay?
That makes sense.
So that's one of the really, like, and I love teaching to couples, okay, because
Oh, I
what's
bet.
well, what's cool about the bars is it's kind of opposite to, like, when you're going to a spa and you put on the music to tame you to that's actually, um, that's calming your bars. What you wanna do is, like, get the bars
Activate it.
activated so that get rid of it. Okay. So, but like, I don't know, I've taught, like, couples, like, Theta healing and access and all that, and, like, the coaches that come back to me, like, what I really loved is like my husband and I, we've got something we can do for each other. You can,
Mm.
like if somebody's cranky, it's like, can I run your bars? To
Oh
just
my gosh, I love that.
yeah, yeah. So and then how I get teenagers to say to like want to participate. Like there's this one place. It's called the implant bands, and that's where you store all the thoughts and considerations of like I don't know everything before you were 7 years old. Like somebody called you stupid, or you'll never be anything because you're a girl, or whatever. That it's all goes like
It all
okay,
goes.
right.
Yay,
So
that's
it's like you
exciting.
know, I'm going like if you can just get your hands on your parents' implant bands for like about 5 minutes, they will say yes more often.
I was funny
I
as you're
was like,
talking, I'm thinking, "Who
yeah,
could I do this with so that I could do the training and we could do that?" Because that was not my husband's not in that realm at all, but
yeah,
my son is, and I'm like, "Ooh, that would be very cool. He
yeah,
and I
yeah.
could do that together. He would love that."
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
that's how I'd convince him that he'd wanna do it.
I love it.
Yeah, so, like so he he could be running your bars and watching the hockey game,
Okay.
okay? And you don't care because
Yeah,
somebody's, like, touching you and
of
paying
course.
attention to you, right? Like, just
Yeah.
and the bodies just love to be touched.
Yes.
That's people don't always admit it, but if they could just be honest with themselves and admit, "I need that,"
Mm,
and this is just a
interesting.
wonderful way to do that, right?
Yeah.
Or like you could be running his bars and watching one of your metaphysical
Yeah.
things, and he'll be
Okay. So it's not something that requires a whole lot of once you know what you're doing, it's not something that requires a whole lot of mental bandwidth.
that's what I love about the bars.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't even have to talk. You don't have to say anything. So you don't have to drag the past. You don't have,
Nice.
you just lie down and receive. That's hard for people, but it can be
Yeah.
done.
Oh, I feel like we're yeah, so I'm parking that for a moment because I feel like that's something I'm gonna talk to you about how we can play with that as a community at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else you wanna say about bars before we move off of that and ask you about the next thing?
Uh, well, um, I think if you go to the accessconsciousness.com website,
Yeah,
that would be a really good place to learn all about the different modalities and that. But they're like
okay.
bars will like the way EFT changed the world,
Mhm.
bars is changing the world. Okay.
Okay.
It's but and the way EFT was so wild and out of there like
Mhm,
25 years
mhm.
ago, bars is like that.
Okay,
N
so
no maybe not quite as bad as 5 years ago, like, so now more
well,
people know.
I feel like we're, kind of evolving where we're just much more open to that stuff more so than we've ever used
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah,
I will get the website, from you
yeah,
at the end when we're done, and I'll post that in as
yeah,
a link so
yeah,
everybody can access it.
because what I like about it is there's a lot of doctors, and teachers and different people that are making sure that there's the clinical research to back it,
Okay.
so that there'd be stuff like that
Oh,
on the
okay.
website, so
Oh,
it's
excellent.
not just like,
I'm excited to
uh,
learn more about that. You're exciting me about that. There's
yeah,
so many well, I feel like when I'm done talking to you, I'm like, I'm gonna wanna know more about all of these things because 'cause
yeah.
you're making them all sound so very exciting to me.
Well, yeah, so I had to do my own clearing, like,
Yes.
for myself as a healer, that it's okay for me to excite you because you're a big girl and you can make your own choices. I'm not the Pied Piper that's leading you over
Ah, I
to
love it.
the thing, but so
Yeah.
that's where my
Well, you know what's fascinating because I'm very connected to energy. And when you started talking about, so we were in Theta Healing, we were talking about that. When you started talking about access bars, like I had to focus on focusing on you. I was going off somewhere. Like I
Mhm,
literally had to bring myself back because I was
mhm.
going into some la la land somewhere just as you
Well,
were talking about it.
yeah, well, because it'll change your life. That's what they
Yeah.
describe it as. It's either the worst thing that can happen is you've had the best massage in your life, and
Mm.
the worst thing is or the best thing is
Best
it
thing.
changes your life
Wow.
forever. Like,
Wow.
so,
I'm
yeah.
intrigued. I'm lighting my Palo Santo stick so I can stay focused through the rest of this interview. Otherwise, I feel like I'm going to go lay on my massage
Okay.
chair behind me and go into la la healing land. So, all right. So let's move on to
Okay.
and I mean we are touching the surface of each of these, but I said right in the description I feel like we're going to be coming back with you and going in depth into some of these just because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
Um, so the other thing you mentioned is compassion key coaching.
Mhm.
So tell me about that.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just reconnect the dots to where, like, why I needed each of them. So for
Mhm.
theta healing, I needed something that was going to change my belief system, allow me to have more like different feelings, okay,
Mhm.
and to release trauma. That was the big thing about that one. Access bars was just to get rid of all this energy that was just stored in me that I didn't know what to do with. And that's what the body processes do. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do bars, but part of my healing journey was to do to something somatic. Okay, it could be yoga, it could be so many different modalities, but the
Okay.
one I chose was the access bars and the body processing. Okay,
Okay.
so compassion key. Okay, to me, I would say that's the TSN turning point, like the of my healing journey. Okay, was that because compassion key allowed me to love myself and
Mm.
to love myself enough to entertain that my thinking wasn't always my friend. Like what I decided when I was young and traumatized was it was okay for then. I'm alive, and uh, but it's not serving me anymore. It's a maladaptation.
Mm.
But when you're like, you make these agreements when you're little that I'm never going to trust anybody and I have to be right and whatever, to let go of that,
Yeah.
okay, is like, and like all of the choices and decisions that you've ever made, okay, especially as a light worker, okay, because uh, so what compassion key does is it allows you to say it at least once, to hear yourself say it, to validate it that yes, I'm holding on to this energy, I'm holding on to this frequency. And
Mm.
the minute you name it, it seems to dissolve. And especially I'm not saying it was my case, but in a lot of places where people were really, really abused, like they don't even know that they're holding on to like some of the guilt and the shame and the it might not even be theirs. It's the
This is what
perpetrator's
yeah, when we
person.
started talking about how much energy oftentimes isn't the person's. I'm just clearing the
Yeah,
some of the
right.
energy out here.
Yeah, yeah, okay, but like
Yeah.
you're this beautiful light being, and like your body's hanging on to all of this
Mm.
because there's no way you'd want to let it out to the world, right? But
Right.
like so like if you with compassion key, like there's the mantra like I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you're angry. And it's like, what? Me? Angry? Like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, and just hearing yourself say it, or, I'm so sorry you're so sad. Like, and what I love about compassion key is there's no silver lining. There's no silver lining. So you know how people will say
Mm.
like, "Oh well, at least I learned this, and there's this good about it." It's like,
Just
no,
acknowledging the pain and allowing it
yeah, yeah,
be and allowing it to be released
right, and it's
without any thought process around it, right?
right, right. No, it's just if it would have made any sense in the first place, you would have got rid of it.
Right.
This is you get to totally play and not judge.
Mm.
And you'll say something that's like I'm so sorry you hate yourself. Like, okay, I'm so sorry you're okay. I'm what, me? Whatever. And then sometimes it's a real zinger, and it's like, ooh, you open up a
Mm.
can of worms that the person didn't really want to look at, but they
So
do.
so
Yeah.
and this is coaching, so this again would be something you would do with someone in a one-to-one session with them, correct?
Yeah, that we do online as well.
Yeah, do
And
online. Yeah. Who
yes.
who would come to you for that? What would be like, who would know that it's like, I really think I need compassion key coaching? What would be
Uh,
those indicators?
well, I can like some of a lot of the people that come to me are the ones that are really into their spirituality,
Mhm.
and they've worked so hard on letting go of the shadows and stuff like that, and like the people that will never allow themselves to say a bad thought
Mm,
or bring it like say it, so
right,
they'll hold on to it. Okay, and it's like, no, no, you're not calling it in by labeling it,
right,
claiming it, and letting go. You're acknowledging that you're holding this in your body, and it's been broadcasting, like, and that, like, what you're resisting is what you're calling in, right? So
right. So someone who, if their belief is, "I have to be perfect, I have to show up perfect, I can't be in doubt or fear,"
yeah,
like, that would be an
yeah,
indicator because
yeah,
they're ignoring that part of themselves that
yeah.
is, controlling part of their life.
Right, yeah, it's like, I'm so sorry you decided you weren't good enough.
Mm,
Okay? I'm
yeah.
so sorry they
So it's
didn't
kinda
see
like a
you.
deep like, I feel like it's a deep cleaning, like it's going deeper and it's getting into a deeper,
Yeah,
cleansing. Does that make sense?
yeah, it's really going to the bottom belief, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, you don't force compassion, like
Yes.
so it's holding space for the person to allow themselves to see that,
Mm.
like,
Wow, I can really get a sense of how someone going through that for themselves would also find that they have so much more capacity for compassion for everyone else. And not only that, but just like there's just this energy as I'm talking about it, I just feel like there's this huge energy shift in that person's world, in the world. Like it's just radiating
exactly.
out.
Like, to me,
Feels very powerful, but very calming.
yeah, like like, once again, in my not so humble opinion, okay, if we all gave ourselves our own compassion,
Mm,
self-directed compassion,
yeah.
all right, we wouldn't need to lash out or try to get it from other people, the validation.
Mm,
It it's there. So like, the compassion key coaching is actually helping people learn to give themselves compassion, and is a really different, like, pitying
yeah.
is enabling. It's But compassion, that's just empowering.
Mm, I
Okay.
totally feel that. I feel the
Yeah.
energy of that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so so me learning to be, like, I'm so sorry you had to handle all that. Like, I'm so sorry you thought that was normal. I'm
Mm,
so sorry no one ever told you you were okay, or
yeah.
asked if you were okay. Like, that, sometimes it's just some of the people that have come to me, it's the first time someone's ever held space
Acknowledge
and
that.
acknowledged it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So it's really, really powerful.
Oh my gosh. So,
Yeah.
so many.
So yeah.
Um,
So yeah. Well, I'm old, right?
yeah, no, I
This is
know.
taking me a
But
long
I'm
time.
loving how I'm loving how you're tying these together.
Mhm.
Um, and so the next one that I had to ask you about was the roar technique, which
The
just
roar.
sounds fun to me 'cause it just makes me wanna go, "Rawr."
Well, that's what it is. It's
Okay.
radically orgasmic, alive reality.
Oh, okay. Radically orgasmic alive reality. Well,
Right.
tell us about that.
That's a lot. That's okay. So the other three kind of just like you were flatline shut down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And we take the plates and we go and you're alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But like what do I do now? Where do I go now? Like this is opening yourself up to not just like not be dead anymore. Like how do I
Mm.
actually enjoy life? Like
So you've
lust for
cleared
life.
the space, you've cleared the container. It's like, what do I bring into this container now?
Right, yeah, but all of the like, everything that you weren't allowing yourself to do before, like, okay, like, say it's this really delicious chocolate bar, and you're actually, like, chewing it and, enjoying it and, like, being, oh, God forbid, happy, like
Heaven forbid. Yes.
okay, you've cleared all the it's okay to be happy, I'm not a bad person, I won't blow up the world if I'm happy. Okay, whatever you have to clear. Okay, it's the okay. So how can I have more of this? Like how can I enjoy it?
Mm.
So it's to be able to really and how the roar technique happens is that uh, usually and why it was so important for me is I had done so much work and I cleared so much stuff. Okay,
Mm,
but I didn't understand that a lot of me had been disconnected, disassociated, put on a shelf somewhere because I didn't know how to handle it and it didn't fit into the
right.
reality that I was in, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go back and find those missing pieces of me that I'd been squashing,
Mm.
okay? And so I could do that with the roar technique and so you just you go back to the place where you put yourself in a cage, okay? And then you figure out what it was that you had to decide to put you there, okay?
Mm.
And then you can't rescind that
Yeah.
and you bring that little part of you integrate it back into yourself. Okay, so like the joy, the magic, the whatever you
Mm.
decided, like the ability to heal or to be who you are, like the wrongness of you that was actually the strongness of you. You're able to bring it back with this technique. And what I love about it is it doesn't take a long time. That's like an hour and a half, 2 hour session, and it's just
Okay.
it
And
just
is this a verbal technique,
yeah.
hands-on technique, combination of 2
Uh,
technique?
this is a coaching technique that
Okay.
I've learned. I'm certified in that you can do online.
Okay. So again, it'd be one-on-one, it's
Yeah,
coaching,
yeah,
and you're walking them through the process of how to reclaim those pieces of themselves that they lost.
right. Yeah,
Okay,
a lot of
beautiful.
inner child healing, but it's not just inner
Mhm.
child. Like anytime that there's something that's like uh, so shocking,
Yeah.
sometimes we just disconnect and we make choices after that. That if you can change what you decided, you
Yeah.
can move forward in a different way. So that's what the roar part was, and the person that taught me that technique, was a she's a theta healer, and, like, she's gone as high up in theta healing, she's gone as high up in access as you can, or whatever, but she was also, like, a she has a PhD in psychology, and she did 20 years of um,
Mm,
clinical work to helping people get out of that, and she had her own, like, horrific, child abuse thing that
mm.
she needed to get through. And so, like, I when I choose a modality for me, I need to be really convinced of the people that are teaching me, and then I'm convinced that it works for me before I even offer it to anyone else. So
Oh, that makes sense, and walking yourself through that. Yeah. So it's so interesting because I'm aligning these all up in my mind. I'm gonna come back and do like a summary of this in a moment. But just before I do that, because the last one I had because there was 5 healing
Mhm.
modalities, um, and it was the dream building coaching.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of know what you're going to say about this to some degree based on the journey you've taken me through, but tell me about where that fits in, and then I want to go back and summarize all these.
Okay. So where it fits in for me is that not only was it, am I allowed to dream? Okay. Well, how do I do that? Where do I start? Like, okay, if I'm not motivated by fear, if I'm not motivated by revenge, if I'm not motivated by all these things, what do I do to motivate myself? Right. And that's where I looked at like Mary Morrissey, and I really, really loved how she taught in that and her systems and technique. Remember, I said I had to,
Mhm.
somebody had to be that,
Yep.
and I want that. So, so her modality um, helps you generate the state that you need to be to be able to have a new dream, a new vision, a new
Mm,
possibility. Like so, so that's where like what would you love to do? Okay, okay. So
yeah.
that's why like when
So
you
it's
ask,
kind of like you cleared the space. Now you can bring stuff in. You're bringing in those core elements you need, but this is more. But what's next? Like once
yeah.
you have those basics, it's almost like a dare to dream.
Well, that's it's not just a dare to dream. It's like how you do it, like how
Right.
you actually manifest when you're fully embodied. Like
Right.
this is when you really get into like there, like her mentor was Bob Proctor, okay,
Yes.
or actually Bob and her had the same mentor, Jim Royer. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter.
Mm.
I just like the people I admire, and she had a really good technique that helps you just to visualize and
Yeah.
get there. Like, and
And that also is, of course, coaching, right? So that's where you're
yeah,
again working one to one to help
mhm,
implement
yeah,
that part of it.
right, right. And
So
I think that's like the coaching, why I can allow myself to coach and claim that I'm not that I'm an authority, or like the authority that I have is like I call myself like the all about you coach. Okay,
mm,
so I, if there's anyone that knows what you want, it's you, because if you don't
yes,
know, who knows, right? So
yes.
it's me just allowing you to face the truth of, yeah, I really want to be famous. I really want a unicorn. Okay. I want every child in the world to have a unicorn. Okay. You go, girl.
Oh, God, I love
And
your
you're fine with
enthusiasm.
that?
Well, but you've taken yourself through all of these. I mean, that's right. Like I've watched you for many years, and
Mhm.
this is what I've seen you do is you've taken yourself through a journey. You've learned it for yourself. The student becomes the teacher and the teacher becomes the student. You
Yeah,
teach others, so you're learning again. Plus, you're then learning from all the different people you teach and all the different things that the elements of what they're going through because we're all different and and you've so I was going my next question I was going to ask you, but you answered it. Why so many modalities? Why not just one? And the answer is because everyone is in a different place. And so, you've walked us through this whole process from start to finish, but I suspect that if someone comes to you, you can do a consultation with them, figure out where they are in their life, and then figure out where to put them in this healing process, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm gonna do my best to summarize these, and you just feel free to jump in. And so theta healing is really where you're going to the root of what are those core beliefs. Let's install those new beliefs. Let's rewrite some of that stuff that you've been taught. And I'm doing a very snippet example, of course.
That's
Um,
great. That's perfect. Yeah,
access bars is okay. Now that we've kind of uncovered all this stuff, let's defrag it. Let's sort it out. Let's release the stuff you don't need. Let's line up the stuff that you do, right? Like it's taking that jumble of everything that's in our
right.
energy field and, our psyche and our
Mhm.
mind, and bringing it into some kind of order.
Yeah, but it's also a no-brainer. Okay,
Right,
it's
because you
just
don't
the
have to
body.
think about it, it's just doing it. So
Yeah,
it's like putting that antivirus software in your computer. You don't have to I don't know how it works, you just put it in there. You don't have to know what the virus is, you don't have to know where it is, you don't have to know how you're clearing it. You just put that antivirus software in, you click go, it scans, it clears, it's gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, and then the compassion key comes in with this new program, and it's about being compassionate with yourself and loving yourself and forgiving yourself, and and because you have to reconcile that within you, which is also a heart opening, right? And it's shifting
Mm,
the energies and shifting what's happening.
yeah, exactly.
And then you roar. "Rawr!" So then you're ready to come out of the gate, right? So this is where you're ready to go, okay, well, what do I want? I've got this, I've now cleared my,
Mm,
the psyche of who I am. I've cleared that and I've organized it and I've released, and I'm now this vessel and I need to bring in. So, what have I lost of myself along the way? What are the good parts? So again, it's almost like putting that, program in your computer that brings back all the essence and the amazingness of who you always were, always are, but you've tucked those pieces beside, or someone snatched them away or whatever. And then from there you go, okay, what's next? Like, I'm good, like I've got this, I'm ready, right? I'm ready to dream and build
yeah,
and grow.
well,
Is that a good summary?
yeah, exactly. What do you want?
Yeah, what do I want? Where do I
Eh,
want to go? What
yeah,
do I want to do?
but you've
Who do I
already
want to be?
cleared. You're not feeling guilty. This is
Mm.
what I want, and I want
Because
it
there's no
now.
regret and reject, because we didn't even bring in the 4 R's, so we got rid of regret. Regret's out the door. Resentment, take a hike. Revenge, F you. No, wait, we want revenge. Regret, rejection, resentment, take a hike. Revenge, stick around. We're gonna team up, and we're gonna make shit happen, right?
Okay.
Okay,
I won't judge. I won't judge. You're right. You are where you are. I'm looking for it.
so is that a good, like, little summary of all these different
Absolutely, it's
modalities?
perfect.
And
It's
okay,
totally
so
perfect. So
Um,
yeah.
so so two things. So first of all, again, people, when someone comes to you, yeah, I suspect you would have, again, this kind of intake appointment where you talk to them, and you get a sense of where they are in the process and where you need to piece them in, right? And whether they start at theta healing, move through, or whether they just need one of these other elements. Does that make sense?
I guess what everybody comes in and it's like, what do you want to change?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Okay. So like I have a hammer, I have a nail, I have a saw, I have different tools, right?
yeah.
So
So
I'll
base
use the best tool
for
to
them.
get the fastest change
Yeah,
that they can tolerate. Like that.
yeah.
So it's all like I guess I really like it. Like the the one that I've narrowed down that's easiest for me. Okay,
Mhm.
is just for people to go through the compassion key,
Right.
and like everyone's served by giving themselves
Mm.
compassion. Actually, that's why I became a master coach at Compassion Key because I loved it so much.
Okay.
And
And with
pardon?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'll jump in a second.
Oh, I loved it so much that I wanted the Theta healers to add this to Theta healing. So I needed to be a certificate of science person to write the course, and I had to be a master coach to write the course because I
Mhm.
really love compassion. So
I was gonna say, I feel like the compassion key is in the center,
yeah,
and then when you take someone through that, it's either going to uncover the stuff that needs to be released or reconciled or whatever through theta healing and um, uh, access bars,
mhm,
or it's going to create such a shift in them that you can kind of move into that, bringing, really living your best life, and bringing in what you want, where you want to go, and what you want to do.
right. I think if it was online, okay, it'd be through the compassion key.
Yeah.
If I get a chance to put my hands on somebody's implants,
You're doing access bars.
yeah.
Okay.
So like you can do like 40 years of therapy or like
Yeah.
or 10 years of
Yeah,
Theta
I'm coming
or
to you for
one
access
session.
bars. I
Yeah.
definitely wanna do that.
Oh,
Um,
that'll be so cool. That'll be
definitely doing that.
fun. Yeah, because that's what Mary Morrissey and the Dream Buildings.
Yeah.
Like you ask me, what do I do now? It's I do what I love for people who love what I do.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
love that.
I can't
I do
stop
what I love for people who love
who
what I
love
do.
what I do,
Yeah.
right? And like what I love doing is serving and supporting. That's like
Mhm.
learning. That's who I am as a healer is just
Yeah.
that. And so meeting the person where they're at so that I can support them in a way that they're ready to receive.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so I want to share. So we talked about, you and I talked beforehand about different special offers that could be offered to the group. And there's so much that you do, and I can see so much potential. And we're going to take this conversation offline when we're done, and I'll post some stuff in the group. And but there's a couple things. So we talked about maybe doing a weekend retreat, and we could do like a 1 day training on access bars. But I mean, you have all these other modalities, so people could, potentially book other things. There's a beautiful cottage that you can use. There's another space that popped into my mind. So we'll talk about this, and
Yeah.
I'll likely do a post for everyone in the community and just say, here's some ideas. What are you interested in addition to that, the compassion key piece, you do have a package available. So when you do the compassion key, would that be like one session, multiple sessions? What does that look like?
Um, well, the package I've offered was the uh, 4 session
Oh, 4 sessions. Okay.
package, and
Yep.
that will just to help us uncover the where we need to go.
Okay, so I'm going to put that link in when we're done. And so Janet's offering 30% off her Compassion Key Coaching package. So 4 sessions, and it's $888. I love that you use the numbers, US full price, but with the discount, it's like 600 and something. And so I'm going to put all the
666.
information. No, it's funny. I got a new credit card in the mail, a replacement card, and that's my key on the back, 666. I'm like, really? Is this a good sign or bad sign? I'm not really sure. Um, so I will post that. And but I like there's just my head's spinning with ideas. So we'll
Awesome.
definitely be chatting about that, and uh, I'll likely bring you in, and we'll do a more in depth on one of these modalities as well. So before we close off the live portion, I would like to ask you, what one piece of advice would you give to someone who's looking to start their healing journey? So they're just like, I know I need something. I don't know what I need. Where do I start?
I thought I had the answer.
I was like, she's going deep. She's going and
No,
checking in.
what you're avoiding and defending, okay, like, or
Mm,
what you're resisting, like when they say the truth makes you free, okay, it,
mm,
it's 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 to it. I love Nova Scotia. If there's anything I learned in Nova Scotia, is it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Why is the booby prize? Like no judging, just be in total allowance of who you are,
mm,
and allow yourself to love yourself.
I was going to say, I feel like it's going to relate back to the compassion key, because you need to have compassion for yourself and
Yeah,
be open to loving yourself to
yeah,
open the door to see what's possible
yeah, yeah.
next.
So, because the truth is,
Yeah.
if you've survived, there's a part of you that does love you that much,
Mm,
and there's a part of you that is a healer, and there is a world in you where beauty and love and joy. That's all there is. love is all there is.
Yeah.
And if you can just allow yourself to have that truth,
Mm.
and just to believe that there's never been anything to fix.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. I'm stopped you there just because I think that they're never, yeah, I just think that's the ending statement. You
Yeah,
know, there's never been anything to fix. It's just having compassion for yourself.
yeah.
Well, I could hang out with you all day, but I'm sure
Cool.
you have things to do and I have, and now I know you're only 10 to 15 minutes away from me, so we'll be getting together.
Sounds
And
like fun. Oh, I'm so
thank you.
happy.
Thank you so, so much. Oh my gosh, there was
Oh,
just so much to learn and I'm just so, you know what, this created such clarity for me in terms of what you're doing and who you're helping and how you take them through a process. And
yeah,
because I knew you did a lot of stuff, but it really brought it together. So
yeah,
I just thank you, Janet, for spending this time with me, sharing your information with us, sharing your light with us, sharing your love with us, your energy with us. Just so appreciate you and all that you do, and you know that you're stepping into the truth and integrity of who you are, and that you're bringing your light to the world so that others can bring their
yeah,
light to the world.
yeah. And I'd like to thank you for helping me with my book
Yes, and that was the other thing. How are you ever going to finish that book?
by by
Tell us
by
about your book.
transcribing this.
Transcribing it. Oh, good.
You
So
gave me
you're gonna take
the
this
words.
interview and oh, I love you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, okay,
because we
no,
broke down all your you got 6 chapters right
yeah.
there.
But we made it real by me. But I guess by you sharing that, I guess what makes me tick is that my contributions are valued and welcomed. So
Mm,
if there are people that would welcome this, then
yeah,
yeah, sure, I'll write it down.
awesome.
So thank you for making it real for me.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Okay.
Well, I will post in the comments how you can connect with Janet. Her and I will be hanging out. There will be more information. Look for some posts on a retreat because we'll be planning one of those this year.
Yeah,
And I'm going to stop the live portion, but don't you go away, Janet. So I'm going to take us out of studio just for a moment, and then I'll stop the live portion. But you and I are going to hang out in studio. And if anyone does want to hang out with us, just click on the link and you can join us. That's the members have the link. So for a private Q&A. Okay, so let me just grab our little outro with our information so people know where to find us, but do not go away, Janet. I'm going to be right back. And I have to take us out of studio to do this.